Hello everyone, and I'm back again. We're back here in the hospital, and we were just having Benoit pump. Ugh, I was about to say he was going to pump the old guy, but no, that sounds wrong. He was going to take the blood pressure of the old guy by using the blood pressure pump. So, since we're here, let's talk to the guard and see if he'll let us in to see Jacques Marquet.
I'm Dr. Stobart.
Bonjour, docteur.
Can I see Jacques Marquet?
Have you heard of a guy called Marquet?
He's in quarantine, doc. Right behind this here door.
Marquet is just the man I wanted to see.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
I wonder.
Anthrax.
Anthrax!
I have to visit my patient.
What for?
Routine. I have to check he's still breathing.
Yeah, it's best to do
What
that.
if he's not?
I'll sign the certificate and register his bed as vacant.
That's
A very
a
cold
and distant attitude to death.
Well, I've been institutionalized to the point of godlike aloofness.
The white coat suits you.
Thanks.
Yeah. I love how they take all these kind of stereotypes of doctors and all these different people and just make them so kind of blatant and obvious. Goodbye.
Catch you later, officer.
Au revoir, doc.
So now we can go in and visit Jacques
Rather
Marquet,
you than me, pal.
and we can talk to him about Bikram's gem and what have you. He doesn't look very good. He looks beaten up. He doesn't look like he has anthrax. He looks beaten up.
Marquet?
Yes, I am Marquet. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lahmar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the
Hope we don't get anthrax from
Not
this.
me. I never inhaled.
Yeah, good.
So, you were sent in my place?
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grand Master. Quickly tell him that I have found the tripod right here in Paris.
You have it?
Not yet, but it's being taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You know them?
We've met. What about the Hashashin?
Is more likely to have followed Klausner. He'll stop at nothing to prevent the reforging of the sword.
And that's bad, is it?
As for Klausner,
I'm glad you didn't listen to that.
he is gone to Syria on a wild.
See, I can barely hear him. It's really bad
Have
audio.
peace in Syria?
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquet. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquet is my patient. If Herr Hagenmeyer was to hear that...
Okay, I'm going. I learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Yeah, so basically, this guy's pushed us out because this is his patient, not ours.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Very good, Benoit. Well done. You've earned my respect,
buddy.
sort of.
What's that noise?
Ooh.
It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
Uh-oh.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Uh-oh.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
You're new. How do
He's
you know
an
that?
imposter.
But he's an imposter!
The door's locked. Help
He's
me,
one of the
officer.
Hashashin! He's going to kill Marquet! Quick, get in the door before Marquet dies!
Stand back, monsieur.
Go, guard! Burst the door! Oh, he shot the door, because he has a gun, obviously. Run in! He's dead, and obviously George is in front of the dead body so that you can't see him actually dead. And he's dead! He killed Marquet! It's a character we barely knew. And it goes straight back to Benika's apartment.
I found Jacques Marquet.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah. Killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man?
No.
Was it Khan?
Anyway.
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly
Yeah, it wasn't
Khan.
Khan.
He got away, out the window.
Because they thought it was one of the Hashashin, but it may not have been. Very funny picture for a killer.
Have you ever heard of the Hashashin?
Hashashin.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again.
What about Khan?
Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time.
Yeah.
Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves.
What about do you know anything about the Templar
Have you
now?
found out any more about the Knights Templar?
Yes, I have. The guy responsible for their downfall was Philippe IV, the King of France.
We knew that already,
Otherwise
didn't we?
known as Philippe le Bel. Well, he is known to history as Philippe the Fair. But I doubt if the Templars called him that. I'm sure André will tell you all about him.
Well, there's nothing else we can really do here, so let's go.
I guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rosso or Sergeant Mou? Oh, but you're referring to André.
I'll let you work it out.
I'll let you work it out. They're all weird. I'm not really going to talk to Moo, because there's no point, because they don't tell you anything. So I'm just going to go straight to the museum and talk to André, because he may have something interesting to say. There's no music for once, which is very unusual. Maybe the game's glitched again. I have a big problem with game audio a lot of the time. Okay, so let's go to the Musée Krune. And we can't go to the hospital anymore because it's been greyed out because there's nothing for us there anymore. Musée Krune. Oh, we've got some music. I like this game a lot. It's very nice. I like the characters, and I like a lot of the kind of the suspense and whatever.
You have left it very late, monsieur.
Ah.
Late for what?
And you see, I am closing the museum soon. You wouldn't like to get locked in. I can tell you, not in this gallery.
Why not?
It is haunted, monsieur.
You don't believe in ghosts, sure.
The Phantom of the Musée Krune.
7 years ago, a lad managed to hide in here. He'd made a bet with his friends, I suppose. When I found him in the morning, he was cold as ice and stiff as a bud.
Well, what was the cause of death?
They said it was a brain tumor. But on his face was a look of stark, desperate terror such as I have never seen before.
Scary.
Anyway, why don't we talk to him about the Templar and the tripod?
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
It does?
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see.
Ah,
I owe
poor
what
thing.
little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician, but he also doubled as the village school teacher. He taught me the alphabet. Wait, 19 letters of it.
Ah.
The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read, so he left them out.
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied art and did all my homework, I could be a professor of history?
At your age? Dream on.
Okay, just crush his dreams. Fine. Well, we can might as well.
Can you give
We
me
can
any
try.
further information about
He doesn't
the
know anything
tripod?
about it, but well.
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous.
Oh, okay. It's
That
infamous.
tripod, that belonged to John D.
John Dee.
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century. The Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologists use ropes, chains, and handcuffs, not tripods.
Well, whatever he was, that is the tripod he used in his experiments.
Seems a bit odd.
What kind of experiments did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Oh, the usual. Didn't you study chemistry at school?
Yeah, but we skipped over thaumatology.
Thaumatology. Interesting word.
Can I take a closer look at the tripod?
What? Get it out of the case? Ah, no. That tripod is protected by a sophisticated surveillance system.
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm bell.
Let's ask about the alarm.
How is the alarm bell triggered?
By the slightest pressure on or movement of any part of the case wherein that tripod is situated.
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet.
Has anyone tried to steal it yet?
Sophistication is in its simplicity.
Okay, well, goodbye.
Thanks.
Let's talk to Andre and talk to him about whatever we wanted to talk to him about. I can't remember what it was.
Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie.
Let's talk to him about the tripod. Why
I
not?
think you ought to know that the tripod is going to be stolen.
The Lochman tripod?
No.
It's true. I can give you a description of the thieves.
Before the supposed event has taken place?
I heard them planning the raid.
They're wasting their time. The tripod is protected by a state-of-the-art alarm system.
State-of-the-art alarm system,
Don't say I
of course.
didn't warn you.
Why not talk to him?
Why don't you loan the tripod to me for safekeeping?
Because I'd never see it again.
Well, don't you trust me?
It's not a question of trust, George. That tripod is hundreds of years old and extremely fragile.
I get your point.
Yeah, I see. Let's ask about. I'm guessing this is the king.
What can you tell me about
Philippe
Philippe
le Bel.
Lebel?
He was responsible for the extermination of the Knights Templar.
I know that, but why was Philip so hot to get rid of them?
Mostly because he wanted to get his hands on their treasure.
I thought it was because he was in
He had
debt.
an
Oh
enormous
no, yeah,
debt
he was in debt.
and
Yeah.
a lifelong war with England to fund. The trouble was, the Templars were a highly respected holy order.
If the Templars were so powerful, how did this Philippe dude wipe them out?
By underhanded, dishonorable means, of course. The Pope was Clement V, a Frenchman.
French, huh? Handy for Philippe.
Fate had nothing to do with it. He was Philippe's puppet, planted to further his political ambitions. Philippe wanted the wealth of the Templars and used Clement to get it.
Okay.
So what was Philippe's plan? What happened?
This is just some background on the
Sealed
Templar.
orders were sent out all over France, not to be opened until the appointed day. That day was Friday, July 13th. That's the origin of our superstition regarding that date. At dawn, throughout the whole of France, the Templars were arrested. It was the biggest bust in the history of the world.
Okay,
What happened
let's
to
ask
the
about more.
Templars after their arrest?
This is quite boring because
Philippe
we're
was
just
out
going
for
through all this
blood,
different
so he handed
dialogue.
the Templars over
It's
to
a
the
dialogue-heavy game.
Inquisition.
It's point and click.
Not surprisingly, they
is
confessed
very
to a
good.
sensational and sordid list of blasphemies.
Like what?
Oh, the sort of things you read about in the gutter press. Devil worship, lewd sexual practices, spitting on the Holy Cross, that kind of thing.
Well, that must have given their lawyers some headaches.
Whether or not the accusations were true, this was not good publicity. Most of the charges were probably cooked up, but so were the Templars. Literally.
How funny they
Hundreds
got
of
burnt
them
at the
were
stake.
found guilty of heresy and flamed grilled at the stake. They died protesting their innocence.
But surely Philippe had no proof of his charges against the Templars.
A man will admit anything under torture. The Inquisition fabricated some nonsensical demon called Baphomet, and then suggested to their victims that this was what they worshipped.
But they didn't have to agree.
The records show a Templar coming to trial with both feet burnt off. fragments of flesh and charred bone falling from the stumps.
Yeah.
What would you not admit to stop such torment?
So there
They
was
burnt
no
his feet
truth at
off.
all
Ugh,
in
it's
the
not very nice, is
Muhammad
it?
accusations?
Not a shred. Almost every victim described the idol differently. No, Baphomet never existed outside the sick minds of the Inquisitors.
There's still more.
So Philippe stole the Templars' riches, huh?
Oh no, they weren't stupid. The king's troops marched first on the temple in Paris, then to the Templar home port at La Rochelle. There was no trace of the treasure, and the fleet of the Knights Templar had set sail.
That's well, should we? Nah, I won't ask about the killer. I don't think he has anything to say about the killer. Well, no, we can ask about the assassins, I guess.
Have you ever
The
heard of the
Hashashin.
Hashashin?
Why yes, it was a radical Muslim sect whose name became synonymous with murder. It was formed in 11th century Persia, shortly before the Crusades.
At roughly the same time as the Templars.
Yes, they gave a new word to our language, assassini, the assassins.
Also, Hashashin was a name. It was a derogatory term given to them, meaning those who smoke hash, as in hashes and marijuana, which is very unusual.
How did the
Anyway.
assassins get their name?
From the legends surrounding the secrets of their
Maybe.
initiation rites. A young man who sought to join the sect was given hashish until he drifted into dreams. He awoke to find himself in a fabulous garden with everything he could wish for. The freshest water, the most delicious food, the choicest hash, and the most delectable women imaginable.
Delectable women.
Cool. Do you have the address?
I haven't
Wow.
finished the story. There was a price to pay for this taste of paradise.
Wouldn't you just know it?
The young man would wake the next day to find himself back in the real world. He was told that he'd been given a glimpse of the heaven reserved for holy martyrs. A heaven he would enjoy for eternity if he was willing to join the Hashashin.
That's kind of manipulative, but oh
How
well,
do
it
the
is
assassins operate?
religious things.
Well, as I explained, the new recruits would be only too willing to die for the cause. They'd be instructed in the use of the dagger, poisons, and disguise. Then, the Grand Master of the sect would name an enemy of Allah.
And they'd stop at nothing to eliminate that enemy.
You got it. They were fearless and deadly.
Does the cult of the assassins still exist?
Take a look around at the world today. You tell me.
Oh yeah, that was very clear, but I'm guessing he's saying, no, of course they don't.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
So now we've finished talking to Andre. Since this video, again, is getting very long, we haven't done anything this episode. But next time, we're going to think about how we're going to get this tripod and stop it being stolen by Flap and Guido. Okay, see you guys then.